When I say hey, you say yeah, hey, hey. When I say work overtime, you say no, work overtime, work overtime. Do you have a really hard time saying no to people, even in the times where you feel that taking on more work and responsibility is going to end up affecting your physical, mental, and emotional health? Do you really want to make people happy and think that your only option is to say yes to them, lest they think that you're selfish, rude, or lazy? Or perhaps you're a driven person who's in the habit of saying yes to everything, even in times where you feel overwhelmed or that you really need to focus on something else. If any of this sounds familiar, stick around, because in this video, we're talking about why we feel this need to say yes, how to start changing your patterns, and how not to feel guilty or anxious about saying no. And most importantly, I'm going to share with you a super effective musical therapy tool that's going to help you feel empowered within yourself and take action, which is arguably the hardest part. This technique is another of the many amazing ways you can include singing into your self-care practice. Hello, lovely ones. This is Livia. I'm a professional operatic soprano, singing teacher, and the founder of Singing for Self-Care. If you like heart-based singing and health, I highly suggest you subscribe, because I'm here for you every Monday with videos on your most powerful method of self-care, your voice. Because remember, you and your voice are practically magic. Saying yes to everything and everyone. Usually it doesn't take too long to find the reasons why we do this. We crave acceptance, we crave love, we want to belong, we want to help, we want to make people happy. Now there's an important question to ask yourself, and it may be a little confronting. If you're truly honest with yourself and the answer, it may make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. If you need to, show yourself compassion and realize that where you are on this journey right now is perfect. No judgment. Now the question is, are you saying yes to help people altruistically with unconditional love? Or are you saying yes because you're concerned about what people think about you? It may help to think about if you ever do good deeds anonymously or when no one's watching and that you don't expect anything in return, or if you always make sure that you're visible, turning up and doing the right thing. It may also be worthwhile to reflect on if you ever feel resentment towards the people that you're saying yes to. Perhaps you're frustrated at other people for being selfish, or maybe you think to yourself, oh, like nice people always finish last. Now, if you've noticed that you are saying yes because you're being nice and you do care about what people think, or maybe you could even go as far to say that you're actually afraid of what people may think of you, let's look a little bit deeper. What are you hoping to achieve by saying yes? So people can see you as a kind, reliable, valuable team player? I mean, that's great, but why is that important? Oftentimes we go to these lengths because we crave acceptance. We want to demonstrate that we are worthy of love. Conversely to this, we want to show that we aren't lazy or selfish or any other thing that may prevent us from receiving love and acceptance. Now ask yourself this question. This habit of saying yes to everything, has it completely ever brought you the love and acceptance that you desire? How are people in your environment treating you? Unfortunately, it's not uncommon for people pleasers to be taken advantage of. When you bow to someone's every whim, there's not this balanced power dynamic. It's less likely for you to be viewed as a collaborator. You may feel disrespected or not listened to. Now consider this, if you were being nice and saying yes to things in order to feel this love and acceptance, can you see how this has backfired? Can you see why you may feel frustrated or resentful at the situation? Okay, so where do we go from here? Let's address the fear. How is it that we're going to be perceived? What if they think you're a bad person for saying no? The good news is that everyone's pretty self-absorbed. So your influence within other people's spotlight of attention isn't actually that big. You saying no doesn't really have that much of an impact. Where in your mind, you may feel that saying no is gonna have some sort of catastrophic effect on that person's life, or you're gonna be making things hugely difficult for them and this big life-ending thing. It really couldn't be anything further from the reality. Think, are you really that important that saying no to a person's request is going to destroy their life? Chances are they're going to hear you say no and then they're just going to move right on. They have other stuff they need to think about. By saying no, you have far less impact on the situation than you think. When you step into your inner power by making decisions by what feels right in your heart and not out of fear of how you will be perceived, you can easily set and, more importantly, you can enforce your boundaries. You will find that people are far less likely to take advantage of you. By the way, most of the time, the person may not even have realized that they were taking advantage of you in the first place. But rather maybe they were in the habit of making requests of you because you were always going to say yes. That's just a simple process. You will notice though that when you actively enforce your boundaries and you do it with grace and confidence, that people are going to respect them and you will feel respected as a result. You're creating a balance and you're no longer diminishing your personal power. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, press the like button because that's going to help other people on YouTube find this video. And let me know in the comments below, what's something that you always find yourself unwantingly saying yes to? If you feel that you aren't falling into the trap of being, nice or saying yes in order to make a good impression and fit in, but instead you're in the habit of saying yes due to a more internal drive, keep in mind that what you say yes to is directly going to impact your time. So if you spread yourself thin, you're going to put yourself at risk of being overwhelmed and suffering burnout. And that's going to rob you of your ability to help at all. Your body will force you to rest at some point, usually by getting sick. And in addition to this, you're going to be dividing your attention so many different ways that it's going to be very difficult to do high quality work in a time efficient way. And it's been shown neurologically that it takes time to adjust your focus between tasks. So ultimately that's going to make you less efficient and therefore less productive. Periods of sole focus and then rest is the scientifically proven way to be the most productive that you can be. So if you're serious about helping others, the best way you can is to say no to some things, and that's completely necessary. In practicing self-care and defining your boundaries by selectively saying no, are you not only looking after your health, but also in doing so, you're putting yourself in a position where you can better help others. Crafting a lifestyle where you can focus on a set number of tasks and responsibilities and not being spread too thin with too many demands. It's also going to help you be more efficient and to serve your community. Okay, so now we've examined the root causes of why we often take on too much and say yes to everyone. You might now be starting to play around with the idea of saying no to certain things, but maybe the thought of doing that fills you with a sense of dread and guilt. So guilt and remorse are feelings that you experience when you know you've done something wrong. Now, saying no to something, it's not a moral issue. You haven't done anything wrong in saying no to a basic request. Chances are is that when someone asks you to do something that you don't want to do, there will be this little voice inside your head that immediately it says that I don't really want to take this thing on, and that's going to be the right decision for you. So you listen to this little voice. This is your truth. Remember, if you start to feel guilty, you are doing the right thing. Now, if you were reading a book or watching a video on how to say no to people or something, it would probably end here. People say that starting to say no is really hard at the beginning, but it gets easier with practice. Now that's true, but there's actually a really cool little music therapy technique that we can use to minimize this resistance in the first place. So I recently read The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins, and she kind of breaks down the steps of the whole Nike, like, just do it. So to save you from reading the entire book, basically you count backwards from 5, and then you start making physical movement on the count of 2 before you do the thing that you want to do. Now, the movement part here is really important because it starts to shift you into another part of your brain where you are going to experience less resistance to doing the thing. Now, singing, it's also a kind of movement. And it's not only that, but it's also a direct line to the core of your being and expression. It's your connection to unshakable inner power if you allow it to be. So this little technique is something that I picked up through Berkeley, and it's actually amazing how fast it works. So we are going to vocalize on no. If you want to add some movement, which can also actually be really fun, you can bring in some body percussion. So you can click your fingers, clap your hands, you can thump your chest or stomp your feet. Now this can be as simple as you want, maybe even just one note. So no, 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 no. Or if you feel like multitasking, you could possibly incorporate it into your warm-up if you want to. No, 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 no. Now, obviously, it may not be such a good idea to just say no in your interaction with people, but just use this as a launching point of you politely turning something down. So something like, no, unfortunately, that's not possible right now, but thank you. So keep in mind here, you don't need to apologize for anything at all, because remember, this isn't a moral issue. You haven't done anything wrong. You don't need to apologize. And the other thing, you definitely don't need to offer any long-winded excuse for saying no as well. You saying no is enough. You have your own personal reason. So you can step inside your personal power and trust. Just because you've chosen not to do something, that's all the reason you need. Now, I still find myself falling into this trap when writing emails sometimes, where I realize if I say no to something, I'm like, oh, sorry, and then offer some sort of excuse. So it does take some reminding of yourself, and I realize that when I read the email back and, I just press delete, 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 delete. But in conversations where there is no delete button, it can be handy to have your little no song ready in the back of your mind if you need a little bit of support. So tell me, do you have a no song ready to go? Let me know in the comments below how it goes. Thanks for hanging out with me, lovely one, and I will see you next Monday. Bye.